In this video, we're going to show you how to install the ignition coil on your Jeep Wrangler, located on the passenger side of your engine. Now we're going to be replacing this ignition coil here, and there are two 8mm bolts down that go in horizontally at the base of the module, which is right down here. So we're going to use our 8mm socket and our 1/4" ratchet. I want to go ahead and just kind of break these loose, and our socket won't fit in there, so we're going to use an 8mm wrench to go ahead and get that. We also have to disconnect two components here, one right here and then the ignition coil wire right here. So we're just going to wiggle this, pop that off, and we have the electrical connector right here. There's a little tab on the top. We're just going to move this wire out of the way here so we get a better view of that. Now right here we have this little tab. We want to lift up on this tab and disconnect that harness. It'll take a little bit of effort depending on how long that harness has been on this coil, but just keep working at it. There we go. We have that disconnected. We'll continue removing the accessible bolt right here. So we're just going to use our 8mm wrench on this back bolt here. That'll fit in there nicely. And then once that breaks free, you can normally reach down with your finger and spin that out once you've got that loose. Now there are nuts on the back side of these here. So I'm using the wrench to go ahead and hold that nut on the back side. Now we found best to use on the bolt on the left-hand side by the motor mount. We're using the 8mm box wrench on the bolt side, and the nuts on the back of these here are actually 10mm. So we're using a gear wrench on the back side to go ahead and loosen this here. Now at this point here, we have the forward bolt removed. I'm going to remove that back nut here. You want to be careful not to drop these here. If you do, you want to try and chase it with a magnet. Pull the coil out, and there's the other bolt in there. Now the mounting base right here for where the coil goes is a steel plate. I'm going to use a little bit of 400 grit sandpaper, and I just want to roughly clean up that surface of where that coil is going to be mounting to. Now, you don't have to sand it up perfect, but it should be smooth and clean. Some of these coils use the metal bracket as a grounding base for the electronics. So now that we have that clean, we can go ahead and take our new coil, and I'm going to put a bolt through. I did clean the bolt, or both bolts. I'm going to take one of the nuts here. I did clean up the bolts with some rust cleaner and some wire brush. I'm going to put this in, and I'm going to reach around the back here, get that nut started on there. Be careful not to drop the nut. That might make for a little challenging time to go find that. So if you clean up that bolt, and you should almost be able to spin that on all the way by hand. Here we go. I'm going to do the same on the other bolt here. I'll put that into the coil. Going to thread that in as far as you can. Do the same on the other one. And put my gear wrench, the 10mm gear wrench, down on the back side on the nut. All right, once you get that tight, go ahead and do the same for the other one. On this side here, we'll just use the open-ended wrench, and we can put the ratchet on the front side. You want to make sure this is pretty snug. Once that bolt bottoms out, you can tighten that down pretty good. Make sure that's secure. Grab your electrical connector for the coil, line that up. Press that into place. You're gonna feel it in here, it lock into place. You can see that little tab lock in right there. We did pop off one of our ignition coil or ignition wires here. A little better access to it, so we're gonna pop that back on. And then don't forget, lastly, to hook up your ignition coil wire here. Push that on, push it, and you'll hear it clip into place. Once you've completed that, you're all set.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.